So hello guys, thank you for joining us today. Today we will have our post-reflection meeting. And first of all, I will talk about the next steps that you guys will need to take. After that, Tejas and Emily will teach you on how to build your, not report, I forgot the word right now, sorry. What's the name of the document that you guys need to work?
The post-reflection paper.
Yes, post-reflection paper, sorry. And also we have, you guys will need to, I will give some tips on how to work on your video presentation as well, okay? So first of all, you guys need to submit your video presentation by tomorrow, okay? So make sure to do it as soon as possible. Get together with your team, ask the coaches for help, and make sure to submit it as soon as possible, because in 2 weeks, we will have the live presentation, and the best teams will get the opportunity to present your suggestions to professional university professors and also the CEOs of the companies, okay?
And the entire crowd. So we always invite everybody. Like if you want to bring your parents or friends, that's perfectly fine too. And so we would have quite a lot of people watching you.
And also the best live presentations will get unique certificates. So make sure to get really involved and do your best. Okay. And the post-reflection paper is due to December 5. So we will teach you on how to build that document as well now. So please, Tejas and Emily, you guys can start.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Raphael. Could you just enable participant screen sharing?
I think you can now.
Yep, great, thanks. Okay, everyone, firstly, welcome. And today, basically what we'll be doing is we'll be going over post-project reflection papers. So Emily and I have a fun little presentation plan for you, wherein we'll be talking about what the post-project reflection paper is all about, why it's important. We'll be looking at a few examples, and we'll be playing a few fun games. So if you were there with us last semester, you might remember this same presentation. And if you're new with us, well, then get ready for a fun-filled interactive presentation. So with that, I'll pass it on to Emily. Emily, you can talk about the objectives.
So hi, everyone. Today we're going to break down the reflection paper and give you a few examples of how to do it. So we're going to cover the introduction, which covers what exactly is a post-reflection paper, the structure, how does one create a reflection paper, some examples of the reflection paper, and then we're going to have some fun with a little game. So,
yep. All right. So let's talk a little bit about what it exactly is and what it entails and what we expect from you with the help of this reflection paper.
So going into a reflection paper, what it is when you go through, you're going to summarize what went well, what went wrong, and how you think we can improve in the future. So this is really important because it not only allows you to reflect on everything that you've done over this semester and all that you've accomplished, but it also helps us to improve on future semesters. And going into how we expect you to do this, it's going to be a fairly brief paper that we will cover in the examples.
Okay, so let's move ahead and talk a little bit about the structure. So we recommend a very particular structure for all your reflection papers, and we would like for you to follow a general template so that you guys have a rough idea of what you're going into, even before you begin writing.
So this is going to be broken into sections, and In the first section, you're going to describe your experiences. So what you did, how you felt about it, and your insights. Going into section 2, it'll be what you would recommend for a future student or coach going in to X culture, what you would recommend kind of. And then in section 3, it's going to be your tips to us that we can apply in future semesters.
Can I make a quick comment on this structure in general, if you can go?
Yep.
So one way you might want to go about it is look at it not as a paper that you write for the program, but rather as a paper or maybe even, I don't know, some sort of a manual that you would be adding to your professional portfolio. Meaning that soon enough you will be applying for jobs, or you will be applying to colleges or for scholarships or for funding or whatever it might be. And most of those places allow you to include your professional portfolio. So basically, you know, show what you've done so far. Sometimes they would not allow you to add a portfolio directly to your sort of application package. But if you're smart, you can always create your own personal web page. Either like your own website, or you can create a page or website within, you know, some of those prepackaged, you know, tools where it's very easy to do, like Google Pages or something like that. And so there you want to put samples of your work. And so this paper here, Reflections, if you do it simply as, you know, like what would you do for the school, you know, for a school assignment, I guess, you know, it's still okay. You'll still get, you know, good feedback, good grade, so to speak, you know, the certificate, X culture. So everything's fine here. But if you present it more as I guess it wouldn't qualify for a book, but rather my manual or my guide to working in global virtual teams, or something like what I learned working in global virtual teams, or having done it, what advice I would give to future managers or members of global virtual teams. All of a sudden, this document looks like something that you sort of created, something that others might want to read to learn from your experience, and something that you can show to those prospective employers, recruiters, so that you can say, well, among other things, I wrote this short little sort of guide or book where I talk about the problems I encountered, and then maybe some solutions I would recommend for the future generations of global virtual team members. And so if you approach it that way, the beauty here is not only it will be more educational for you, but you sort of kill two birds with one stone. So you not only do it for X culture, but it's something that you can continue using in the future. And you can say, well, when I was 16, this is what I created, take a look at it. And so add it to your page, maybe share it through your, if you have, I don't know, Facebook page or LinkedIn page, put it there as well. You never know, people may like it. And even though most of those recruiters will not necessarily read it, the fact that you will have it nicely organized and, you know, it's present there, they will look, oh, actually, it seems like the guy was actually creating some, you know, useful content that could be used by others. So think about that, because again, that's something that can differentiate you from your competition when you apply for those jobs or scholarships or finances or financing for your, not financing, the investment for your startup and things like that.
So with that, we'll move on to talking a little bit in detail about section 1. So section 1, as Emily mentioned, is basically a description of your experiences. So here are a few things that we recommend you to cover in this particular section. So we recommend you describe your experiences within your GVTs, including your interactions with your teammates from all across the globe. How was the communication? What did the leadership structure look like? How did you decide to distribute the work? And what did the workload distribution look like over the course of the project, etc. If you had any challenges, any significant hiccups in your journey, we would also recommend you cover that, and also talk a little bit about how you covered them and how you addressed them. Any observations, interesting stories, experiences, fun memories that you built over the course of this semester. What did you learn in regards to either international business, cultural knowledge, client companies, online collaboration, etc.? So what is something that you took away from this entire experience? Anything that you would like to share or reflect on? What is one thing that you would want to change in regards to this semester? Like, what would you like to improve? What would you like to potentially have different in following semesters, etc.? And how you generally interacted on our social media groups, either Facebook or Discord. What was your overall experience? How did you feel about utilizing those platforms, etc.? So I'll pass it on to Emily. You're on mute, Emily.
Thank you. So going into section 2, like what Dr. Voss said, this is where you're going to be able to really create kind of a how-to guide that you could put in a portfolio. So this is where you're going to take everything that you put in section 1 and really kind of funnel it into something that is going to say, this is what you need to do if you want to be successful. And maybe I would recommend, as Tejas said, taking the things that went wrong and really saying, this is what went wrong, and this is how you can avoid this, or this is how you can take this bad situation and turn it into something good. So, and then just kind of presenting it as a recommendation to anybody who would be going into a global virtual team.
Emily, just to second your advice, again, I went to the Amazon books as we were talking and just typed for books that start with the what I learned. And so there are literally over 100 books that literally are called what I learned doing whatever it is. So here, that's what you can literally present it as a way, you know, what I learned being a global virtual team member. So think about that, you know, that way, and all of a sudden you'll have a lot of interesting ideas and a lot of things to talk about.
So with that, let's move on to talking a little bit about section 3. So section 3 was what your general experience in X culture was. What work did you do? What did you experience? What did you delve into? You can talk a little bit about how you would want us to change X culture so that it's more beneficial for students such as yourself for the following semesters. And what is one thing that we could make what is one thing that we could change in regards to this program so that it would be a little bit more lucrative, a little bit more enticing for potential students to join in over the course of the following semesters?
So why are we doing this structure? What are the aims of this? When we do, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
So we'll be looking at a few examples in order for us to understand why exactly we went ahead with this structure and how it all flows into cohesion so that we can potentially understand better the importance of following a particular format while writing this reflection paper. So Emily, would you like to present the first one?
All right, yes. So what I've done here is we have Kylo Ren's reflection, and he just lost his lightsaber, but sorry. So in Kylo's words, my team was all right. Hux and I worked together in the beginning, and we were very quickly able to determine our client company and the best way to do the report. There was some resistance to our leadership in the beginning, but we got that under control with a little bit of force. We were really lucky to have Rey on our team, as she has a truly brilliant mind and is very well spoken. Finn and Poe kept claiming I was being overly controlling, which is ridiculous. They were distracting Rey constantly, which drove Hux into panicking. Hux seemed to think that he had to do everything in the beginning, insisting that he was going to be the team leader. It turned out that he was a bit of a free rider, though, as he always tried to copy my ideas as if they were his. Finn and Poe almost convinced Rey that I was being overly controlling or something. They are so frustrating. Working with dart drones was great because I was able to learn a lot about an industry that will be essential to my new empire. I have also learned that I do not necessarily have the best people skills, so it will be important for me to have people like Hux to delegate to. Another thing I would like to reflect on would be the awesomeness of my grandfather, you know, Darth Vader. Yeah, he's pretty cool. And one thing I could change about this semester would be I would put Poe on a different team because he's annoying to me.
All right. So let me do the same thing, but with Steve Rogers. For those of you who don't know, that's the name of Iron Man. Oh, not Iron Man. Wow. Okay, that was a mess up. That's the name of Captain America. Iron Man's Tony Stark. So Steve Rogers' reflection. It was interesting. The last time I interacted with people from all around the world, I ended up getting frozen for 70 years. A little bit of a dark joke to begin. We all assembled together well, and while Tony and I had many spats along the way, I still think he's nothing without the suit. We managed to work well together. Even though I was the leader, we ended up getting babysitted by Natasha all the way. Our coach, Fury, well, let's just say he was not enthralled. Clint just suddenly disappeared halfway through the project, so we thought he was a free rider. However, we had come to learn that he was having family problems, something about his family getting vaporized instantly, and him having to get involved with some bad apples in Japan or something like that. Well, challenges. It's a difficult one. Okay, so stay with me here. Maybe the buff purple dude with the most jagged chin you'll ever see in your entire life, he may have been kind of problematic. But as you know, when it comes to any problem, I'm an expert. After all, I can do this all day. Oh, Tony got a daughter. Natasha and Banner were having this weird dynamic all along. Fury died, but now he's alive again. Might have been his Wi Fi. One of my friends on the team, Bucky, briefly tried to kill me, but that's okay. He's a little crazy after the fall from the train. So, we hope that it gives you a brief idea on how to utilize reflection papers to convey your thoughts, your ideas, your experiences in a creative manner, while also taking into account all your experiences, all your memories from across the semester. We also hope that this is a potential way for you to present us with suggestions and points of reevaluation in regards to our program. So finally, a game. Let's wrap it up with some fun. So what we're going to be doing now is we'll be reading out examples of reflection papers, or like excerpts out of reflection papers written by a famous fictional character. It's your job to identify which fictional character we're talking about. So Emily, I'll pass it on to you for the first one.
All right. Having worked with young wizards and witches from across the globe, I have learned that we are all not very different from each other, except for Luna Lovegood.
All right, so you have a bit of time to guess who you think this character is, because I think it should be pretty obvious, but yeah. So let us see. Do we have any responses in the chat? We have one. So one. Someone saying Hermione, Dumbledore, Dumbledore with a double O. I agree. It should be spelled that way because it's pronounced that way. But so we have two people saying Dumbledore, and one person saying Hermione. That's nice. Neville. Okay. So we have a wide array of characters, and then Rabia and Neve rounds it up with Hermione. Harry. Okay, so we'll take in one more response before moving ahead. Dobby. Okay, that's a stretch. Neville. All right. So the answer is actually Hermione, because if you guys remember properly, it was Hermione who called Luna Loony Lovegood. So that's where the reference comes from. All right. So question number 2.
One question, guys. So you all have read Harry Potter? Like, is that something that kids your age all know all those characters, all read all of this stuff?
Yeah.
My kids read it like twice, all whatever, 7 books or something. And I did watch the movies at some point, but yeah, I guess interesting. Okay, yeah,
I think I read the entire series in 10 days. I think it took me to read all 7 books.
Crazy.
Me too. All right.
So, and most of your friends have read them? I guess my generation most haven't. So I've seen the movies and we have the books. As I said, my kids read them too. But somehow, yeah. Well, anyway, sorry, but just I'm surprised how well you know all of that stuff. So amazing.
All right, so question number 2. The game of X culture has been afoot for a long time now. My dear companion Watson proved to be a good support, despite his silent nature. If you get this, I'm pretty impressed. So, okay, so someone's saying Sherlock Holmes. There's actually a lot of people saying Sherlock Holmes. That is surprising. I did not expect you guys to know Sherlock Holmes. That's
now that's literature from my generation. Now that one I read many times. So.
Yes, but that's very sharp of you guys. You guys are right. It's Sherlock Holmes. And now the final question, which might throw some of you off a little bit. This one's been made by Emily, and I'm going to allow her to present it as well. So Emily, go ahead.
I've been late to a lot of meetings. Maybe not everyone works at my speed, so I guess I got to wait for people to respond. Oh, and I'm not going to spam their inboxes anymore.
This one's going to be a little bit tough. Okay, we have no responses because people have no idea. Hint.
Speed Force.
Yes, that's a pretty good hint. That's a pretty good hint. If you know
I
your
meant to put that in there, but
yeah, if you know your comic books, you should know this. Okay, so we have someone saying Flash. Okay, do we have any other guesses? The Flash. Everyone says Flash. Wow. Okay, there's one person saying the Flash, and now it's everyone saying the Flash. Perfect. Starfire. Is it Maeve? Which Maeve are you referring to? There are many characters named Maeve. Okay, Barry Allen, the gray RE dude. That's fast. Okay, the answer is the Flash from DC Comics. All right. So with that,
you guys are crazy. I'm finishing up the Big Bang Theory, so literally the last season. So we've been just basically, nonstop watching it over the last couple of weeks, or a few weeks actually now with my wife. And so they talk about the culture of the young people who are very much into all that Marvel and DC and Harry Potter, and we don't get it. But apparently people like that exist. So looking at you guys, you do have like a Flash toy, and so good for you. So I thought maybe they just made it up in that movie. So.
Oh no, my brother has a huge collection. This is where I get my friends from.
Okay, well, yeah.
Okay, we have a hand from Kevin. Do you want to speak a little bit, Kevin? Let me allow you to talk, or you don't want anymore? Because now we are going to open the mic to you, so maybe you guys can share a little bit about your experience, how everything works. Is anyone here wanting to start? Should I pick someone? Hey guys. No? Kevin, maybe you can start for us. Just talk about your experience. How did you felt about the culture? How was your team? Where are they from? And those kind of things. Is that okay?
I'm actually very curious to hear those stories. So I see you guys as numbers. So we have the gigantic Excel file where we have data on each student. And as you know, we have over 7,000 students this semester. So approximately 2,500, almost 3,000 something actually closer in the early track, and then 4,500 or something like that in the late track. And so it's a gigantic file, and you appear to me as just basically a line in that gigantic file. And so I see your weekly peer evaluations, your satisfaction level, maybe some comments that you leave, your deliverables, but I don't hear the stories. And there is, like the number itself cannot tell the full story. So I'm very curious to hear your sort of, more rich, accounts of what happened, how things were going, what went well, what you learned, but also maybe what went wrong. So maybe if you experienced any challenges or annoying problems in your team, now is the time to share that. So I would be very, very interested.
Okay, we have Brenda here. Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brendan, and I would like to briefly reflect on my experience in X culture. Well, my team wasn't. I'm gonna be honest here. My teammates, guys, please don't come for me. But I didn't really have the best time actually because it was like the team was pretty disorganized. Although I made quite like a bit of like quite good relationships with them. I mean the team was a bit of a mess. I think it's more towards our disorganization and we have like communication problems, I guess. We don't really talk that to each other often. So I mean, it's more towards like, yeah, we don't really have a good way of communication. What I do learn was, scheduling is really important. From the get-go, we should have scheduled everything from the get-go, or else it's like a mess like this. And also, I think because towards the end, I wasn't that active in next culture because of exams, and so I think that was a bit of a problem as well. So, but then overall was really okay experience. And I mean, there are things that I could improve from my team, but that's that, that's the
So
journey.
Brendan, so how did you guys communicate? You said didn't communicate often. So what was the mode of communication?
Okay, so thank you for the question. So, normally we use WhatsApp because everyone kind of uses WhatsApp in the get-go, but then there was one of our teammates that studied in a boarding school, and hence she didn't really have access to her phone, and so she only has access to her laptop, which means email. So for that one student, we have to do email, which, and frankly speaking, I'm not the type of person that really checks an email that often, which I should have. But I mean, of course, I think everyone has their own lives and everyone has their own priorities in life. And maybe it's like, people are just busy. And so we don't really communicate that often. So yeah.
Yeah. And so did you have any live meetings? Like if that team member used a laptop, first, I think she could have installed WhatsApp on the laptop. I have a copy, but if it's a school issued one, she probably had some restrictions.
It's more like, sorry, like, yeah. If you have a laptop on WhatsApp and a laptop, you still have to have your phone. So you still have to connect it to your phone.
Like, yeah, it needs to synchronize, yeah.
Yeah, you have to synchronize.
And that boarding school, like it's completely banned, like they wouldn't even be able to use it on weekends or anything like that, right?
Yeah, I think what we did have like live meetings, but I think the main problem of our team is that towards the middle of the project, we were starting on cliquing. So me and one of our teammates, we kind of click each other. We kind of, we kind of have a clique. We kind of form a clique. And so I think I am trying to be a person. It's all my own problem, but I tend to be a person. It's like in a team, if like I'm close with someone, one of the people in the team, then I'll be the one. I'll only talk to that person more often. Like So it's also my problem. But I mean, yeah, we did have live meetings. We did have meetings, but I mean, yeah, not that often. You get what I mean? Not that often.
Yeah, I see. And then, so were there any sort of conflicts per se in the team, or was it simply lack of participation of some team members? Like, was it just simply not active enough, or there were some, what you would call negative experiences per se, more like?
Okay, I think it's more towards deadlines. Some of our team members do have a problem with deadlines, including myself. I would say I do have problems with deadlines. I try my best to keep in touch with deadlines and try to keep everything in that, and have a alarm to remind me of all deadlines and everything. But I mean, yeah, I think it's more towards deadline problems. Also, I think it's more also towards ideas that were kind of like conflicting. But with ideas, I mean, we resolved it in a couple of minutes. So I don't really think it's a big of an issue. Time difference. Secondly, it's deadline problems, because some of us are procrastinators, and me being one of them, because I have a procrastination problem. But yeah, I think those two are the main problems.
So Brendan, if you wake up tomorrow and somehow it's I don't know, October 1st all over again, Groundhog Day, what would you do differently this time?
Oh, interesting question, actually. Wow, that's a pretty interesting question. I would actually try to set up better relations with my team. set up better relations with the team, I would say, and have better communication methods, strategize a plan, and also there's a lot. Well, fourth will be like scheduling everything from the get-go. So scheduling from now to the post-project period. So that will be what that will like what I will do probably. That's like the most important thing. And also I think also try to like
This part actually interests me very much. We wrote a few papers, like for example, one published recently where we specifically looked at why some people participate less than expected. And so in literally almost all cases, like 95% of the cases, it was the failure to initiate. So that first week or two always was critical. So usually, in the first week or two, people are a little bit lost and don't know what to do. And then they, don't engage. And then over time, they continue not engaging. And when we reach out to them, when we interview them and ask what's going on, they say, well, I don't really know what to do. And now I feel bad because I didn't really participate much in the first week or two. And my team maybe thinks that I'm lazy. So you mentioned several times, like from the get-go, from the beginning. And so, yes, for us, I guess, for the administrative team, that's a lesson that we need to be more supportive during that time. But for the members of the team, again, the lesson is that that's the critical time. So don't miss it as a member of the team. And if you see a team member who is not very active in the first week or two, try to reach out to them, because in most cases, it seems like it's not because they're bad people or, lazy or irresponsible. It's just, sort of not quite ready yet, or maybe don't know what to do, or maybe shy and don't know how to talk to the team members. But that's where it seems problems happen. So very, very rarely do we see that somebody would be active in the first few weeks and then drops out. Usually it's that, first critical moment. And so, as I said, when we confront the people about that, pretty much always they say, oh, I wanted to participate, I just didn't quite know how. And then I felt embarrassed. And then at some point, I just thought it's better for me to step down and not engage. So I'm kind of curious that it's interesting that you pointed out also that, initial stage as a critical moment. Yeah.
Thank you, Brandon. I think next, Eva, I will let you talk as well. Can you hands up so I can promote you to allow you to talk? Raise the button.
Thank you, Brandon. Very informative.
Okay, I think you can talk, Eva.
Okay, hello.
Hey,
So, where I can start?
you can tell your name, where are you from, and
Okay.
about your colleagues, where they from as well.
Okay, so my name is Eva. I'm from Belgium. I'm 15, and in my team there were a girl who comes from Kenya, another one who comes from Egypt, a guy who comes from India, and the last one comes from Indonesia. And there were also another one who came from Egypt too, but it just disappeared.
And how was your experience throughout this semester?
It was a great experience. Yes, I gave the report back last week, and I stepped a bit back, and yes, I don't think it's the best final report, but it was the first experience for us, and we gave the best that we could, and yes, it was a great experience. I learned a lot of things, and really interesting.
Can you please give more details on what did you learn?
Why did I? For example, I'm not the best. Before doing X-Culture, I had some difficulties to work in group, and doing GVTs helped me to give me some advice to be better on groups. For example, communication is one of the most important things, I think, in the group, because in my team at the beginning we were all awkward to speak. And now I tell myself, why was I awkward? Because I don't, it's like I was a bit afraid to be judged by the other people in my team. But then communication creates links between us, and we became kind of friends. Also, organization. There were a lack of organization in our team. We did most of our communication in WhatsApp, but no one was starting the conversation, you see. So I was always the first one to send a message, say, hi guys, how are you doing? When is the meeting this week? And all of that. But also we didn't do a team chart. And I think that we should have done that. And yes, I think that's it. I don't know if it's really clear. I don't have the best English, I'm sorry.
Eva, can I ask you, everybody keeps mentioning WhatsApp. So do you guys still use sometimes the good old either Skype or Zoom where you kind of meet like what we do now? Or is it now in your generation, you just stick with Discord and WhatsApp?
No, we used Zoom for a meeting. All of meeting were with Zoom, but the discussion were by WhatsApp and by mail because a girl wasn't real often on WhatsApp.
And how often did you use Zoom? Like, was it like a couple of times or was it more regular?
Unfortunately, only one time a week during the weekends. I know it's
no, yeah, if it's one time a week, that's not unfortunately, that's a lot. I was thinking that you were going to say only once for the duration of the whole project, which again is very good. Many teams don't even do that. But if you had like a weekly meeting, I think that's actually quite frequent. It would be strange if you had it more often. Yeah, okay, that's good to know. So it just seems like, again, the younger people seem to prefer something that, just a quick type like WhatsApp or Discord or something like that. And I'm curious if many teams used something more substantive, as I say, like where you actually meet and talk in Skype or Zoom or one of those tools.
Yes, it's our coach who advises us to use Zoom.
Okay, all right.
And it's very helpful. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, what do you think about the results that you had so far? Did you enjoy it? Did you think that was that it improved you? Would you do all over again? What do you think?
Yes, I will do over again, and this time I will not be guilty of something or anything. I would just go and do the thing, try, and if it fails, it's nothing. We can do it again and not be afraid to fail. Yes.
That's a good lesson. Thank you for sharing. Okay, thank you. And next, I will open the mic for Jigisha. Let me get Jigisha. Can you raise your hand, Jigisha? Okay, thank you.
Hello everyone.
Hello, Jigisha.
My name is Chigisha. I'm from India and I'm almost 16. So how can I start?
Where are you from and where are your colleagues from as well?
I'm from India and I have teammates from Indonesia, Pakistan, Paris, Kenya, and USA. We also had one from Nepal, but she left.
And how was your experience?
It was quite good. In India, you can't work, so it was really nice experience for me to have a responsibility to complete the report draft each week, and I have a deadline apart from school, like have something to do, a responsibility, and I learned a lot of things. I made a lot of friends.
And can you also please explain a little more detail on what did you learn?
For example, responsibility and how to schedule my timing, and communication, of course, the time references, and how to take on the situation if a teammate is not responding or if they have not completed their task, how to handle everything.
And how did you handle these two situations? That's a very tricky situation. How did you handle?
If they didn't complete their tasks, I messaged them and we asked them if they have any problem or any situation, and we helped them through it.
Oh, that's great. And that was did you have a good result on doing that?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Most
good.
of the time, it was a connection problem, or they had some commitment. So either we helped them or we did their part ourselves if they were unable to do it.
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear. And which communication tool did you use?
We made a Discord server. Most of our meetings were there, but we
Oh,
also had a WhatsApp group.
oh, the meetings were all in Discord then?
Yeah, we only had one meeting on Zoom, but the rest were on Discord. It was easier for everybody.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Good to know.
One question about that team member who from Nepal who disappeared, and before that, Brandon was saying that someone from Egypt disappeared. So what do you mean disappeared? So someone just stopped communicating, or was there more? And second, when that happened, what did you do as a team in terms of redistributing the workload, but also did you inform like the coaches or the administrator about that? I'm just curious how you because that happens often. It's a big issue when it happens. And so I'm just curious how the team reacts to it. In your case, for example, what did you guys do about it?
In the first week, she was not responding. So we asked her what the problem was, and she got angry. And she just said that she would not work anymore and she would like to leave. So we tried to convince her to stay, and we said, can we do something else? Can we help you? And we contacted our coaches, but ultimately she left. And we asked for another team member because it was before the report started. It was the first week, so that our work could be distributed evenly, like 2 members on each section.
So she explicitly told you that she's not going to be participating, right? So you knew that she's out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So often what happens is people sometimes simply disappear, basically stop communicating. And in that case, we don't know, is it an issue of, the person simply lost interest, or is it something that, maybe sick or busy, and then will the person be coming back or not? That ambiguity, that's where it's really a problem. In your case, I guess you knew that, you just have one fewer people. So, but still, obviously it's disruptive. And do you know why she got angry? Like, was there some sort of a conflict, or was it just a personality sort of issue, or something else?
I'm not sure. Everything was fine, but once we asked her if she'll be starting the report and if she's free, she just, I don't know, she just got angry, I guess.
Interesting. Again, so on the one hand, I sort of feel sorry both for you that you had this experience, but then also people who mentioned before that there was someone else who didn't quite, meet the team's expectations. On the other hand, I actually feel sort of good about it. And let me explain in which way. The truth is that situations like this will happen every single time when you are on a team. We see it not only in just about every team in X-Culture, but also we experience it with our clients, like, for example, the professors, X-Culture professors. We do a lot of work with companies and often are asked for advice on how to manage, for example, organizational teams. We also do a lot of work ourselves in teams, write papers, prepare this program. So a lot of administrative team meetings. And so the kinds of problems you describe, they happen all the time. So there is always someone who is too, active and bossy, or someone who's too shy and does not participate, someone who may get angry for no reason, someone who may have some sort of a conflict with the team, someone who, like, for example, in that example that Brandon gave, that someone who doesn't want to use a tool that team uses because they don't want to either learn new technology or they have a legitimate technical reason for not being able to use it. And so in a way, when you experience these problems in X culture, yes, I kind of feel sorry for you, but on the other hand, I know that's preparation for when it happens again, and it will happen again. And so my hope is that you will know better next time what to expect and what to do about it, because you already experienced these problems. So on the one hand, yes, I kind of feel, bad that you had, a good but not a perfect experience. On the other hand, if you had a perfect experience, and some teams do, where everybody loves everybody, everybody's, working hard, everybody's communicating frequently, yes, that's a good experience, but it's not very educational because it probably will never happen again. And so there will be problems like what you described. So next time you will know what to expect and how to deal with it. So hopefully you recognize that.
Thank you. Thank you, Jigisha, for sharing.
Thank you.
Now I will ask Kevin to talk a little bit.
Hello, my name is Kevin. I'm from Indonesia. I have total six other teammates. Another one from Indonesia, another one from Australia, a girl from Australia, a girl from India, a girl from Kenya, a boy from South Africa, and another girl from Texas. At the beginning, everyone was participating, but by week 2 or 3, we got 2 team members that weren't active. One personally told us that he was dropping out due to mental health issues. So we knew at the time that he was dropping out. The girl from the US just suddenly ghosted us, even though she just replied to my message like 2 minutes before, and then like after 2 minutes, I replied her message. She just ghosted me for like the whole entire time, even like until recalling. The coach tried to contact that person, but we never got to know what is the reason for that dropping off. As well, the same problem with Brandon, with the girl, with the girl from Kenya, as well, because email. So yeah, so would have I known that the girl in Kenya would have these problems, I would have definitely just gave her one task from the beginning, because even though I gave her like one specific task for like a week, that's for 2 weeks, that was still eventually submitted late, even though it has been given 2 weeks prior.
It's interesting that you said one girl from Texas. I studied and I did my master's in Texas, and in Texas, people always introduce themselves as I'm from Texas, not I'm from the United States.
Oh, she's not even Texas. She's Peruvian Texas.
Okay, yeah. Well, with Texas, as I said, they joined the Union, so the United States as one of the, in fact, I believe the last state. And so they often say that, oh, did you know that we were a separate country up until whatever, years ago. And so it's interesting that yeah. But anyway, yes, please go ahead.
Did you like the experience, even though you had hard times? How did you feel about it?
Well, I'm just glad, even though this was like one of, if I'm mistaken, in the beginning during the doc, like one of the problems teams have, like, well, not like teams have, like that teams produce less quality of report if there are team members from the same country. But I'm genuinely grateful for this teammate that is in my country, because we have similar schedules and we have similar events. So like we know what's happening in our countries, as well as we only have like 1 hour time difference. So during week at the end of week 3, I was like quite stressing out, like confused and feeling the pressure of finishing it. So about from week 2 until the submission of the draft and the submission of the report, we have like two Zoom meetings every week just to finish it. The first week we had 3, like Thursday, Friday, Sunday. No, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. After this, the next week we had Thursday and Saturday. The last week we had Thursday and we had Friday. We had Thursday and Friday, because Yeah, because midnight in our place is still not yet midnight. In the US, we have a 12-hour difference. So we still had time to do it on Friday midnight fast. So I'm just grateful for my teammates from Indo, from the same country.
We should do this reflection phase maybe like 3 weeks later. So because now the students just submitted their work and they're still in that sort of, hyper mode and, still thinking about it. And so sometimes it is overwhelming. And in the moment, it often feels like, oh man, this is so hard. This is so frustrating. This is so, annoying even sometimes. But believe me, a few weeks from now, after you have had a chance to kind of calm down and think about it quietly, many of you will be thinking, actually, you know what, it wasn't bad. Yeah, it was hard at times, but it was educational. So I'm kind of starting hearing that. But yes, usually, that your perception of the experience changes over time as you kind of move away from this, very, very active phase and then have time to think about it more quietly.
You won't miss something until you lose it anyway. So
Exactly,
you might miss
exactly.
the project, the stress of the project, even though it's really nice.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, good to hear. Okay, thank you for sharing. Now we have Alvin. Okay. Feel free to unmute yourself, Alvin.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. My extracurricular experience was like good, I can say. And in our team, we didn't have any kind of different types, but we had a free rider from Egypt actually. So and for the first few weeks, he was with us. Uh, first starting the introduction meeting, and then how we start going to start the report and such things. But after we started to write, put in our content into the section, like into the report PDF, he was not there available for us. And then but we still kind of didn't acknowledge that fact, and we just moved on. But after that, till the last part, he was not there for us, and we got late to report that this guy is not there and he's free riding. So it happened like that. And then even after we reported that we don't have a member, like we have a free rider member like that, then we didn't get a new member. But still that didn't affect us. The report went well. And uh, and in between, I kind of got insecure about the PDF, because in my country, or the education board I went through, I didn't have much of the knowledge to write about the pricing strategy and the logistic stuff and all. But we had a team member from Indonesia called KZ Rachel, and she was like the pillar of of our team, and she helped us with a lot of things. And she wrote the pricing strategy, and that was kind of a strength. And then everyone was participating in the team. But still something we lacked in the ending was we couldn't put it into Canva. We just send the whole PDF like it was fresh. We couldn't put it and edit it into a new kind of page or poster, things like that. Or else I'd say I gave my best, what I could do, and everyone in the team did their best.
Yep, very nice.
Good to hear. Thank you for sharing, Alvin. I think we have 2 minutes for Valerie. Is that okay, Valerie? Can you?
Yes, yeah,
Oh, you're.
I think I can do it. So in my team, we have from Indonesia, from Nigeria, Egypt, Sweden, and India. Basically, I think we did quite well despite our busy schedule. And the most common problem we had was because we had our own business and everyone can't make really much time. And if they were assigned for some tasks, sometimes it will take longer than we would expect, which made other teammates to have to help them and cover up for them. And we had a weekly Zoom meeting, and we usually communicate using WhatsApp. I think that's pretty much it. The problem we had was because everyone was busy and not making enough time for X culture. And yeah, is there anything that maybe I could share more? I'm not sure either.
But it sounds like so obviously everybody was busy with other things as it always happens, but it sounds like your experience overall was pretty positive. Did I get that right? Or there were still problems?
There were problems, but we tried to cover up for one another. Like if someone was late, another person will try to cover up for their work. And if when they give their research, we'll just add to what we have. That's what we did.
Yeah, that's nice. That's exactly what we want to hear. Again, it's never perfect, but it sounds like you dealt with the problems in a kind of productive way. Very good. All right.
Okay. So do you guys have any other questions? We are about to close the webinar. We have, is there any exposure program that happens during summer? We only have two programs, academic programs. One is started January and the other start on August, right? August. So yes. it's spring and fall for you guys, right? For United States, right? So yes, spring and fall, okay? Next week, we won't have a webinar, okay? We'll try to watch all the video recordings so we can choose the best ones to do the live presentations. So you guys will have 1 week to practice for the live presentations, okay? So for next weekend, we don't have any webinars.
But we have the open house, don't we?
Yeah, but it's not part of the academic program, right?
Okay.
And yes, we cannot advertise now. We will have an open house. So if you have any teacher, friend, colleague that might be interested on participating next semester, please ask them to join us for next weekend. Okay, let me get the link so you guys can share it. Wait a minute. Basically, we are going to explain what is exposure and what students benefits when joining. Okay. Okay, wait a minute. You guys can register here for the open house. Okay. Put the teams before earlier, like during the training phase, so that we can bond better with our teams earlier. Oh, actually, the problem is that not everyone that participating in theory phase will be joining the practical phase. So that's why we just form the groups right at the beginning of the practical phase. Okay, so we can do it. Sorry about that. So is there any other question? No? So guys, don't forget to submit your video presentations by tomorrow, last date, okay? And I hope to see you in 2 weeks. Okay, thank you for joining. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.